Hey everybody, Tom here with Hidden Beats, and today we are talking with Olivia Lunny, if I pronounced that right.
You bet. Thank you. Yes, you did.
All right, how are you doing?
I am great. Thanks so much for having me on the show.
Yeah, this is a nice round two because we had a written interview back a few years ago and we got to catch up finally in person, which is great,
So much to catch up on. Oh my gosh, since 2020, the whole world's changed.
right? So for those who are new to you, do you want to give a little kind of intro about yourself and your music?
Yeah, let's do it. So my name's Olivia Lunny. I'm 23 years old. I was born in Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. And I've been making music and writing music since I was about 12 years old. When I was about 16, 17, I put out my first body of work, my first EP. And then by the time I was 18, I was scouted for The Launch, CTV. It was a Canadian TV show. I actually won that show, and then now it's all slowly starting to happen. Still doing the music thing, but just I guess slowly leveling up
I mean, yeah, COVID put a damper on a lot of things, so I'm sure that
for all of
didn't
us.
didn't work.
Absolutely, exactly. But yeah, and I mean, I guess in terms of the music I make, it started out pretty folky, and now it's pretty pop. But there's always still that kind of songwriter roots within all the songs. So yeah, that's me.
Nice, yeah, and I've listened to your stuff for a bit now since we first chatted, and definitely like the vibe that you have in your music. So I'm sure you're on the right track if people are enjoying your stuff.
I hope so. Yeah, thank you. That means a lot to me. Thanks for listening.
hmm So one of the things we actually asked you back in 2020 was musical inspirations, and you mentioned it was kind of hard to pick out specific ones, but Coldplay was always top of your list. Is there anyone currently that you're drawing inspirations from?
Ooh, that's a good question. I still do listen to Coldplay a lot. I think honestly, my music taste has become so eclectic. I love to, go on like a new music Friday and discover brand new artists, or I love to just play Rumors by Fleetwood Mac for the millionth time. So I think it's a combination of all the kind of different music tastes coming together. Or sometimes I'll put like smooth jazz on in the background.
But anyways,
So you cut out for 1 sec, but you're good now.
yeah, my mic just decided to do that thing right
Oh,
away.
no
So
worries. You're good.
Okay, so with you have a guilty pleasure song that people listen to or would expect to listen to?
For me, what is my guilty pleasure song? So I cut
Yeah.
out again.
Yeah, like a guilty pleasure song
Hmm.
people might not expect.
Let me think about that. Um, that's so hard. I like, you know what? Take It Easy by the Eagles.
Okay.
Maybe that's unexpected, but I grew up, my dad would always play that song, so maybe people wouldn't expect that, but it's a great tune.
That is a great tune. I do like that one myself. So one of the things I like musicians and kind of get an insight as to what they or how they do things is your process for putting together a track or putting together a project.
Mhm. So, I mean, I just released a song called Timezone, so I guess you can kind of use it in the context of that. But for me, I feel like the writing process is always super random. And, like a lot of artists, I'm always like writing words down that inspire me or like singing into my phone, or saving songs on a playlist that I want to reference. And Time Zone kind of came to life when there was just so many literal time zone situations going on in my life. I had just started spending more time in Los Angeles. My family's more like on the East Coast, so balancing that time zone. My dad was on a work trip to India, and he was there for a month, so we were trying to kind of connect and be like, "Hey, what time zone are you in? How can we juggle this?" And then I had met this producer duo, and they were from Norway, so we were just talking about how it's crazy that we're from completely different parts of the world. Me being from Winnipeg, them being from Oslo, and yeah, just the theme was kind of time zone. And I literally wrote that word down verbatim. And I went into the session with them and I said, why don't we just write a song about time zones? And we did exactly that. So it's a pretty literal song. Um, but yeah, I'm super pumped to have it out.
No, for sure. And I listened to that just before here to kind of get refreshed on everything. And it's been out for a few days now. And how do you think it's been received so far?
It's been received really well. I mean, it's always so hard to tell. I think it kind of takes a few weeks to really kind of get the ball rolling, but so far so good. People seem to be really loving it, and I think it's the perfect song going into summer. It's upbeat, it's catchy, and yeah, we'll see how it goes, but I think it's doing really well so far.
Yeah, it has a great vibe. Like I was kind of just bopping my head as I was writing some notes down and having fun with it.
Sweet.
So it's
Awesome.
a
I'm
good
glad.
listen for sure.
Yeah, thank you. I'm so glad to hear.
Now, how do you think your process has evolved, especially since, back a couple years ago, with the launch and everything? How have you evolved over the years?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think, well, primarily I started writing on guitar and just by myself. I had never really done co-writing till I was probably like 16, 17 years old. So I used to just pick up the guitar and sit down and write a song in its entirety. That was a very common thing for me. And I feel like I still do that, but I should keep doing that more because that's kind of back at my roots. But now I'm blessed to work with so many amazing collaborators and writers and people. So now it's more I'll come in with a really cool idea or maybe just a chorus, and then I'll get to work with all these other people and we'll put our brains together and then we'll collaborate to make the song. But obviously I'm still very involved in the songwriting process. But yeah, I think just more layers to it because it used to be so simple. And sometimes I'm like, man, maybe I was the best when I didn't even know when it was just me, you know? Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, it's definitely evolved to say the least for sure.
When you hit like a creative slump or whatever, how do you get around something like that?
I just take a break. I think if you're forcing it, then you're probably not going to get a product or a song that you really end up loving. So if I have just tried a few sessions or I've tried writing on my own, it's just not working. Sometimes I'll even, take 2, 3 weeks and just not even pick up the guitar. And then the irony is then I'll be more gravitated to on my own when I'm not forcing it, pick up the guitar and want to write and a really cool idea will come out.
I mean, if you're meant to be on a guitar and it's there, you're gonna automatically want to go for it.
Yeah, exactly. Totally.
Do you have anything you do to kind of keep yourself grounded to keep level across the board so you're not overwhelmed in one aspect or another?
Yeah, honestly, during COVID, actually, I got super into meditation. So I have tons of different apps or listen to frequencies and stuff. It's kind of hippy dippy, but honestly, I swear by it. It's totally changed my life. And I try to do 10 minutes a day. I'm not perfect though. Sometimes I'll do maybe only twice a week, but I feel like meditation and like grounding with your breath is, I mean, that's all, it all starts with you, right? So
Hmm.
it's definitely, I'm super into self-care and skincare and I love sleep. I've been going to bed super early lately. 8 hours of sleep is very underrated. Honestly, I love my sleep. Sometimes I'll nap, but yeah, just the fundamentals that I feel like sometimes we overlook, like drinking water as well, you know?
Yeah, that's for me for this month. My goal was to cut out pop, see if I can do it for the whole month.
Nice. How's it going?
So far, so good, except for there's those times where I want to, push someone out of the way to go get into the store to get a pop. And
That's
but
the thing.
yeah,
It's the initial, like it's the like initial craving. But then once you can like get past that, then it's like, okay, I can do this. But good luck with that. That's amazing. That's good for you.
well, I'm 17 days in and
Amazing.
I still haven't pushed anyone over yet, so it's a good sign.
Let's go. That's awesome. That's
Hmm.
if I had a drink, I'd choose you, but I don't.
I mean, I appreciate it. So that's been pop was always the biggest thing for me. So that little bit of trying to keep healthy and keep a little bit, level yourself up a little bit more.
Of course. No, I totally get that.
Hmm. Now, one thing I like to ask musicians, especially, we've chatted, well, written chat before, but what's the story behind your music? Like, how much of yourself do you put into your music?
Yeah. I think that's also something that's definitely evolved over the past, what, like 10 years. I definitely usually always draw from experiences within my own life. It's just so easy to do that, to look at a situation and go, why don't I just, turn that into a song? Because music has always been my emotional outlet. But I think the beautiful thing as I get older, I'm realizing you don't have to yourself be experiencing a feeling or a situation or an emotion to write about it. Because there's a point where it was like, hey, do I always just have to be going through a breakup? Do I always just have to be going through hardship to write like a sad song? Or do I always have to be happy to write a happy song? And the beautiful thing about writing is you can write in from any perspective. And I think that's what I'm slowly learning. And as I get stronger as a writer, you can really write about anything and you can write about, let's say, a really heartbreaking situation, even if you're happy. And you don't have to actually be physically like feeling that pain to put that into a song. Or if you're feeling down, you can still channel that into a pop banger that's super upbeat and happy, right?
Hmm.
So I would still say though, a lot of my music is about, my experience navigating the world as a young person, as a young adult. But yeah, I mean, I'm curious to see how that'll keep evolving. Maybe I'll start writing songs about politics or something. Who knows? It's a crazy world.
I mean, there's so many things out there to write about, so definitely
Yeah,
possible.
totally.
Do you find it hard to balance putting too much of yourself in versus giving everybody something unique to listen to?
I think that's actually the part that comes pretty easy to me. I mean, in my experience historically, if I am putting a lot of myself into a song, that's usually when the song is probably one of the best songs I've done. So sometimes it's maybe the opposite. Maybe I need to put more of myself into a song because I'm kind of hiding behind the vulnerability and I don't want to dive into a situation, right? So I'm just going, oh, whatever, I'll just like try to write a pop song. But then as soon as you kind of put that emotion in, that's usually when you strike gold with the lyrics and the theme of the song.
And I find that a lot of the time during COVID, a lot of people were able to become more creative and more that extra into their music and just get more out of it, really.
Absolutely. I think it kind of forced us all. I mean, if you weren't like a medical worker, you were able to just kind of be at home and you had to be at home. I think it went one of two ways. People either just tried to distract themselves or they kind of just sat with themselves and went, okay, like I got some work to do with myself. So I definitely took that time to write a lot. And as I said before, that's when I got, more into meditation and like reading self-help books and all that stuff because yeah, your energy goes, or sorry, what is it? Your mind goes where your energy flows, or it's vice versa. And it's
Yeah.
what you think about is kind of what you're gonna bring into your life for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And for me, like these interviews actually started during COVID. I think
Oh
like
no way.
the month after the lockdown started, it was I got a couple of that said, "Hey, do you want to do this?" And I said, "Oh, okay, why not?" Because I'm actually a
Mhm.
photographer for like that's what I usually do.
No way. Oh, that's
So,
incredible. Amazing.
so I got in front of a camera, which was usually me, and started doing these, and now we're doing like 200 a year, I think, right now.
Amazing. Oh my gosh,
Hmm
good for you. I feel like
Yeah.
too, it's so true when you're, as you said, you're usually like behind the other end of the camera. It's like when you kind of push yourself to become uncomfortable, that's inevitably when you're gonna grow, and that's when good things are gonna happen. So good on
Well,
you.
I definitely get, I get to meet new people. I get to talk to people like you and learn more about you and learn
Totally.
more about your music. And that's for me as a consumer, that's what I like to put more behind just the song. I don't, so there's good songs, but if you have the feeling behind it, then it makes it a little bit better.
So true. No, it's so interesting you say that too. And sometimes I feel like if people could like know you or know the artist, maybe they'd even resonate with the song more because they would know, I guess, what it's actually about. But then there's the whole other end where it's like music is once you release it, people can kind of interpret it how they want to interpret it, right? And it can be
Hmm
a song that gets them through a hard time or a song that they play to be happy, even if it's a happy or a sad song. People kind of get to choose their own adventure once you put it out. And that's what I've also realized is you don't really have a say once you put your art up in the gallery. It's like, okay, everyone can make their own comments and see it and interpret it how they want it to be. But I guess that's the beautiful part about even having people who want to listen or look at that art, right? That's cool.
hmm Have you ever had like a fan interaction where they're like, "Oh, did this song mean this?" And then you kind of went, "Wow, that's a completely different way than I expected they take it."
Um, not so far because I feel like my stuff's been pretty straight on the nose and literal. Like I released a song probably 2021 called like Sad to See You Happy, and it's about exactly that. Or think of
Hmm
it, like, do you think of me? It's pretty just out there in the open what it's about. But yeah, some of these newer songs, I'm very curious how people will take them.
Yeah, I always call those like the weird fan interactions because you think of a song and then someone comes up to you and it's like, "Oh, did this mean this?" And you're like, "Oh, what?"
Yeah, no, exactly. It's cool
hmm
though. That's why music and art is so cool because it can really be interpreted any and every way.
for sure. And now with, everyone's out of COVID, we're all doing outdoor things now and music scenes a flourish. What's your opinion of the way things are going now with festival season coming into swing and there's a different concert every day, it seems like.
Yeah. Well, I'm actually in Los Angeles right now. Coachella just happened. I think weekend two is coming up too. And I think it's just so amazing. It really does feel like we're back and live music is back. And I went on tour in October, November with Tyler Shaw, an amazing Canadian artist and a friend of mine. And that was actually my first tour. And it was so fun and so cool to just see some people like know my songs and know my lyrics and just have that human to human connection. Because it's one thing to go back on social media and like a photo or someone to send you a message, but to them for them to like look you in the eyes and sing your words back is definitely incredible. So yeah, going forward, I mean, I have a few shows out here in the States. And yeah, it's some things I can't announce or say yet, but stay tuned.
For sure, for sure. And I mean, like I'm based in Ottawa, so I'm hoping I'll get to see you around here at some point just to get a live show.
Yeah. I don't think I've actually ever played in Ottawa, so maybe that'll have to be on the list in the next 6 months.
There you go. And I mean, we're about to hit festival season here up and next in September, I think. So
Yes.
sneak your way onto the line.
Yes. I'll see what I can do.
I'll put in a good word for you.
Please do, please do.
hmm Now, one thing I'd like to ask pretty much everyone, because it's a unique experience that you're going through, is, and you have lots of interviews, things like that. What's something that you think should be asked more in an interview that's not asked enough?
These are great questions. Oh my goodness. Something that should be asked more.
And this could
Hmm.
be you, or it could be about, interviews that you're watching that you might want to know, how does this artist do this or whatever, something like that.
Yeah, I think for me, I don't even know if this is actually related to the music part, but as you said, just getting to know a person better, I love to know people's morning routines. I
Okay.
love to know right away, how do you start your day and like why are you the person you are? Because I think those first, what they say, like 30 minutes of your day are like fundamental to kind of how you operate and stuff. So I would just love to know how people, like when Ed Sheeran wakes up in the morning, what does he do? Does he check his phone? Does he pick up the guitar? I think that would be really interesting for me to understand, because then you could see how that bleeds into all aspects of their life.
And it's interesting to think about that. Like myself, I work from home right now. Like a day job is the government. So I roll out of bed and then sit on a computer. And I'm just thinking,
Yeah,
I don't wake up early. I wake up like 2 minutes beforehand and grumbly come
yeah,
sit down here and just start
yeah,
typing away. And that, you know, by 2 o'clock, I'm usually, now is where my energy starts to pop up. I'm good to
right.
go. And it's interesting to think of how you progress throughout the day with how you wake up in the morning.
Yeah, it totally. And I mean, especially too for these like massive established artists who are either on tour or when they're not on tour, it's like what did they do to stay grounded and stay calm and write the best music? Because I think I'd find that really inspiring.
Yeah, no, it's definitely interesting. And, I'm sure it gives you, you know, inspiration in different types of things too. Like, oh, maybe that'd be a good thing to do in the morning or something like that.
Yes, kind of copy their routine. Hopefully it's like a little cocktail for success.
hmm For sure. Now, we talked a bit about your music choice. Is there something that you would recommend someone listen to on a playlist? My usual question's a bit different than that, but we already kind of went over some of it.
Yeah, sorry, of my music or of
Something that you would
some.
recommend someone listen to, maybe an you like a lot that's doing fun things, or, anything of the sort.
I've been listening to an artist lately. I think it's just Q is the name. It's just the letter Q.
Okay.
And there's this one song called Take Me Where Your Heart Is, and I think I've probably listened to it every single day since it came out. So I would say that song, it's like a my life is a movie kind of song. It's very chill, it's very vibey, but I love that song. So that's what I'd recommend.
Okay, no, it's a good one. I like that one because there's so many things out there to listen to that you can never listen to them all. So it's good to get other people's perspective on things.
Totally. Totally.
For sure. I'm actually making a note about that right now.
Good tune.
hmm
Very chill. Yeah, it's good. You should check it out.
hmm So one of my last questions, most important one, is why music? Why do you keep doing what you're doing?
Can't do anything else. I don't know what my life would be without music. Honest to God, it's just so habitual for me. And not only is it, I mean, I'm blessed it's become a career, but it just gets me through life, And I think removing that from my life would just be like removing a really big pillar um, of the structure, I guess, that kind of holds me up. So I think there's just nothing else that I would feel fulfilled doing. So yeah, music is life.
Hey, I hear that a lot from people. If it's meant to be and it's what you love doing, then you can't see yourself doing anything else.
Exactly. Yeah. But it's really interesting, I think, when music as a hobby becomes a career, then sometimes you forget to do it also as a hobby. And I think I'm learning it's so important to, do like a 12-hour studio day and have photo shoots and promote songs and do that, but then also just come home and pick up a guitar and maybe write a song that no one ever hears except for myself. So it's the balance, the duality of it all for sure.
Yeah, I mean, being a musician is a business. You're in a digital world now, and there's so many spots you have to touch. And if you're not doing those, you're not getting yourself out there enough.
Exactly. No, I totally agree.
Do you find it hard to balance stuff like that if you're trying to make sure you have a good social media presence, but releasing studio time and like home life, there's all kinds of things there.
Yeah, I think I think I'm finding the balance. I
Yeah.
think it's remembering that I'm doing this in the first place because I truly do love it and it is my passion. That's kind of the grounding factor. and then it becomes, oh, I get to do this, I don't have to do this, right? It's not like, oh no, I have this crazy session day. It's like, wait, I get to do this, right? So it's just like
Hmm.
switching that one word. It's just kind of switches your mentality. So yeah, I think I'm grateful to have good balance at this point in my life. We'll see. Hopefully that can sustain as hopefully things pick up. But yeah.
Yeah, balance is key, and you got to keep that up. I know I've gone through points where I'm up and down and all over the place and nothing's balanced, but if you can bring
Yeah,
it back home, then it makes it that much easier.
exactly. No, I saw this quote. It's like if you're flatlining in life, then you're dead, right? It needs to kind of go up and down and up and down and up and down. So
Hmm.
yeah.
No, for sure. That's pretty much all I have written down here. Is there any kind of last words of wisdom or final tidbits you want to leave to people?
I think you touched on so many things. Thanks for asking such awesome questions. They had so much depth. I feel like this was so fun. But yeah, just I mean, everyone go listen to Time Zone. There's a brand new video out. It's a brand new single out, and there's so much new music coming. So on all my socials, Olivia Lunny, Lunny. And that's that for me.
Well, we'll make sure to link everything as much as we can to get more eyes and more ears on your music because it's good to listen to.
Thank you so much. And thanks again for having me. It was so great to chat kind of face
For
to
sure.
face.
Yeah, and that definitely nice. And I'm sure we'll get to do this again because I'm always down to catch up with people and talk about new stuff that they're doing.
Amazing. Yeah, I'm excited to see this evolve. So hopefully a year from now things can be even crazier. I'm excited.
All right. Well, you know where to find me at Hidden Beats and send me a message and we'll start posting some stuff for you if we see it.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
No problem. You have a good day.
You too. Okay, bye.
Bye.